for the Other Three Amigos podcast. Your unofficial Cork City FC podcast. Tweet us on Twitter using the hashtag TOTAP. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Contact us pod@totap.ie. Sit back, put your feet up. It's time for the Other Three Amigos podcast.
On this week's episode of the Other Three Amigos podcast, is Milan and Beng the next Franz Beckenbauer? Decky discusses what you should do if someone is touching your balls unwarranted. Will attendances going forward be a worry? The Waterford review, the Sligo refereeing team's performance, and plenty more besides, including the mailbag. All of this and more on this week's magnificent episode of the Other Three Amigos podcast. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 8, Episode 258 in total of your international multi-award winning podcast. Throw us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you're listening in on. And why not join us on Patreon, patreon.com/TOTAP. Reminder, you don't get anything extra at that, but it just helps the pod out. Dan Casey here, and I'm joined by all of my amigos tonight. It's Wayne Mullins, Declan McCormack, and our chairman, Declan Carey. Lads, how are we all? Wayne, I'll start here with you.
Hi lads, tired today. Motivation's a bit low, but look, we get there.
I feel like the motivation of the pod did it drop a bit today?
I think it did. I'm just tired. I'm fine, Dan, alright? I'm fine.
You seem okay. You seem in good form.
Yeah,
Declan Carey, you're a man always in good form. How are you?
Aside from the jet lag, Dan, yeah, I'm absolutely flying. So got home there from the West Coast on Saturday evening, and yeah, still a bit ropey, but look, I'm here.
And lastly,
coast to coast and post to post.
Declan McCormack, how are you getting on? We missed you last week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a different experience listening to the pod when I don't know what's going to come and what's been said. Like, you know, I liked it though. I was like, yeah, I could escape this a few more times during the year, but enjoyable pod last week, and it was nice to contribute from a live game. You know,
They're always good crack. Well, look, let's get straight into it and head straight for Academy Watch. Alright, the under-20s had no game. The under-17s, they beat Treaty 9-1. It was David Dunn, Charlie Hanover got himself a hat-trick, Killian Murphy, Donal O'Connor, Cian Daly, Rory Fitzgerald, and Jamie Ndawuba with the goals there. Our under-15s, they beat Limerick 5-0. The goal scorers were Alex Wilson, Derek Corcoran, Tristan O'Driscoll, and Ryan Horan with the brace. Under-14s, then 0-0 with Treaty United. And that is the Academy Roundup. But it's time to get in. So, Academy Watch.
Academy Watch with Ivan Draco on the Other Three Amigos podcast.
Are you in a bit of a rush today, Dan?
Why do you think I'm in a bit of a rush? Well, you were there trying to claim I had lube in the background there a second ago as well, like. So we know what's on your brain.
That's why he's in a rush.
That's what it looks like to me. Like, it looks like it'll, just saying it.
I'm not in no rush.
I always get a bit of PTSD, lads, with the Academy Watch. I can't help it. Like, I just get that wry smile when it comes on. Good times.
The Women's Premier Division is back. 2-0 loss against Peamount. Decky, what did you make of the performance, and what can we expect from the women's side this season?
I didn't know you were going to ask me this, to be honest with you.
Did I not say before we started recording the first thing I had in Academy Watch?
You said 30 seconds ago, literally before, I'm going to mention the women's, and I was like, oh, okay. Look, they were 2-0 down after 14 minutes, so we all feared the worst. Amanda Budden in the Peamount goal made a couple of great saves. Lost the game 2-0. There's a little bit of a moral victory in that, I guess, but moral victories aren't really, nobody's chasing moral victories. As for the season, I'll be honest, I think it's potentially it's going to be a long, hard season. We'll have to wait and see. They added a couple of new players today, although both were involved in the squad on Saturday. They're home to Sligo next Saturday. It's the first home game. I'd urge people to get out there and support them. It's a big game already. It's only the second game, but Sligo and City would probably both be expected to be at the lower end of the table. So if they could win that game and get the season up and running, it would be a great boost for everybody at the club.
One win.
There's a lot of they and them rather than us. Just a strange way of kind of painting the picture.
Well, Cork City are one of 12 SSE. What is it again? SSE Electricity Women's Premier Division sides. I mean, Las Damas is not a Cork City podcast anymore. Yeah, we're City
this
fans.
Isn't Las Damas, Declan.
Huh? That isn't. No, it's not. But it's. Look, I mean, that's the vocabulary I'm now used to using on Las Damas, so it's hard to switch it up here, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, it's as I said, Las Damas has moved on.
Are you still on the footpath?
We are for the moment, yeah. We are for the moment. We'll see on Saturday what happens.
Oh.
Hopefully sense prevails there anyway, Dick. Look, obviously want to wish Frank all the best for myself. I've worked with him a couple of years back in 2019 and good to see him back at the club anyway. And yeah, wish him all the best for the season ahead. And hopefully a big crowd comes out Saturday. And absolutely, yeah. So we're all behind you, Frank, anyway. And yeah, best of luck for the season.
Who are we up against this Saturday, Dick?
Sligo, Dan. Sligo Rovers. The real Rovers.
Expecting a result?
I think it'll be a tight game. Sligo had a decent 0-0 draw at home to Bohs on Saturday. So I think they're another side, like their men's team that I said last week. They're probably a better side than people maybe give them credit for. They'll be very well organised defensively. And I guess the knock against City is it doesn't look like a side that has a lot of goals in it. So, yeah, you'd be hoping it's a game they could win, though.
Okay. Ben Domigan, City released a statement during the week. It is with a heavy heart that today we confirm the retirement of young 16-year-old defender Ben Domigan at the end of January whilst undergoing medical tests in advance of signing for Bundesliga club Hoffenheim. Ben received a diagnosis of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. I hope I pronounced that right. Probably did. Myopathy. Decky, what were your thoughts after reading that one?
It's hard, God almighty, I was going to say, it's heartbreaking, it is, I'll be honest, lads, we're doing this 5 years, and this is I heard about this a few weeks back, and it's the one thing that I shared with absolutely nobody, because, it's not something to be spoken about. At the time, I was in school with Ben's dad for 5 years. We did our leave and cert together right through secondary school. I sat next to Rob for 3 years in Farnferris. It's tough for everybody. Obviously, it's tough for Ben. It's tough for the family, and you got to remember as well. It's tough for people at Cork City as well. They know Ben. Obviously, Liam Carney's looked after him. He looks after all the lads, and it's a really, really tough situation for everybody. But my understanding is that Ben is incredibly strong. He's incredibly dealing with the situation incredibly well. You said there Cork City released a statement. I believe it was actually Ben's idea to put out the statement, and Cork City just helped him with that and put it out on his behalf, because he wanted to ensure that there was clarity around what was happening and didn't want rumours to start up on that. So for a 16-year-old to be making those decisions is incredibly, it's beneficial, but it shows an incredible mindset from Ben as well. And all we can do is wish him the very best, wish his family the very best, and hopefully at some stage, you'd hope it's not the last you heard of Ben Domigan in football. He's only 16, but you kind of hope that maybe we're here in 10 years or 12 years and there's stories around, Ben Domigan, career ended early, but now he's the youngest manager of all time in the National League or something like that, that he can keep himself in the game and still better because he was an incredibly good player, incredibly gifted player, and probably would have had a very good career. So, look, it's just incredibly sad for everybody, but I think it should be mentioned that by all accounts, Cork City have been absolutely brilliant in this process. And as always, Liam Carney has been an incredible asset to everybody. And every time Liam Kearney's name comes up in any conversation anywhere, it's always in a very positive way, and everybody speaks about what a brilliant person he is in that academy. And again, that's the conversations that are being had around this very difficult situation for everybody, you know.
Declan Carey, presume having worked with him, what can you say about Liam Kearney?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, Dan, and only because I've never worked with Tim Clancy. He's the most hard-working guy at the club and one of the best guys I've ever interacted with. Just to follow on from what Deck was saying there, there's no doubt in my mind that there's big things ahead for Ben Dummigan, whether it's in football or not, or outside of football, because I've seen it firsthand, the absolute sheer dedication it takes to be a National League underage player from the age of 13 or 12, I think, all the way up to what he's done now, and to potentially have that opportunity he had in Germany. And look, more opportunities will come to him in life. I'm absolutely certain of that, because the mindset he has will set him up for, the rest of his life if he obviously keeps that going. And this doesn't knock him back, and I don't think it will. As Deck said, it showed unbelievable levels of maturity to put out that statement, and it's not something you see very often when this type of thing happens, but it just shows again the maturity of the guy. And it looks like, I don't know his family personally, but he's got a strong support base around him, and we wish him all the best going forward. But there's no doubt in my mind that he'll have a great life and future ahead of him. And again, as Deck said, like, it's a testament again to how well the situation's been handled by Liam Kearney and his academy coaches at 15s and 17s that would have recently interacted with Ben and been part of this. So look, we wish him all the best, and sad for him in this current state. But I'm sure as time goes on, he'll get over the fact that his career as a footballer is unfortunately over. But as Deck said, fingers crossed we see him involved in football. Selfishly speaking, it would be a great story, but I'm sure there'll be great stories ahead for this guy in life, just with the mindset and the sheer dedication that he appears to have that not a lot of us have. So fair play to him for the career he's had, and there's not many can say they even played with Cork City and had the opportunities that he had, and I'm sure there'll be big things ahead for him.
Absolutely, Wayne. The last word to you here. Incredibly sad for a young man to have football career taken away like that.
Absolutely. I think the two lads have covered it brilliantly, really, to be honest. And I think we all speak for all of us saying we just wish him the very best, and hopefully we won't see the end of him in the football at Cork City, hopefully. And there's a long road ahead for coaching from if he wants it.
Hopefully so. Not to go from that to something I don't know what to talk about. Turner's Cross now and a lacquer crowd. Well, look, that's the nature of comedy watch, I guess, in a weird way. When the attendance 3 games in now, are you disappointed with it, considering it was third game back at home?
I was very disappointed, yeah. I thought more would show up. And especially since the shed moved down to the Derrynane, the end, a lot of the shed singing section, there was a lot of empty seats. I know Ireland were playing, and there was what does Musgrave Park hold? 10,000?
8,000. Yeah, 8,000.
Yeah. But there was a game the week before too, and it didn't affect the attendance. I think the Waterford game, two games in a week is very expensive. Going by yourself is 50 quid. If you're bringing kids with you, like, you can be spent up to 100 quid. So I totally get it. It was just disappointing. And I hope it was raining during the day, and maybe I even found myself at 5 o'clock going, oh, would that bother? But I knew I was going anyway. But yeah, I thought it was very disappointing, and I hope if we do not win the next 2 games, will it go like we've Shells next, like lose that, and could we be down to a lower crowd again? Now I don't know. Do we add all the season tickets and the tickets sold, or is it who turns up at the gate? So if we sold 4,000 tickets and 500 didn't show up, what's the attendance? Is it 4,000 or is it 3,500?
It includes the people that didn't turn up, Wayne. I have no doubt about that. Yeah.
So if I bought a ticket tomorrow and didn't go against Drogheda, I'd be in the attendance.
The attendance figure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't,
because I didn't think. I thought it was a lot less than what was called out.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There was very from my eyeballing it, there was just maybe a touch over 3,000 at the game, not the 3,000. What was called out? 3,600 and something.
543.
Yeah, there wasn't that many.
There was no way. There was no.
Declan Carey, what did you make of the whole shed situation, all the seats covered? Do you think that was the right way to go about things?
Yeah, well, look, if they're damaged, then they're not deemed to be safe anyway. So, like, look, I suppose it was the right thing to do. I wasn't at the game, unfortunately. It was a on the way back from the States in the airport, watching it on a tiny tablet. But I was reading some of the comments online and saw the photographs. But like I don't think there was much in terms of options there and what we could do. To be honest, the seats are damaged and they haven't been fixed, and they're if we're telling people to sit in the seats and use them correctly, etc., you can't really ask them to stand in that section or allow them to stand in that area. So look, it does look like, as potentially the club and the MFA are taking necessary actions and steps towards getting them fixed and repaired. And I'd say there's not one happy camper in either campsite, to be honest, at the moment.
When you had the lava sewers up there.
Yeah, the only disappointing part was I didn't see it communicated anywhere, and it would have solved a lot of problems. What happens now when we play Hels at home or Rovers at home or Shamrock at home, and that section is down by the away section? It could have been done a lot easier. It could have been a communication saying, look, this is closed. What are the options? I think maybe they did, but my view was they were pissed off, got up and walked out. That's what I saw. So from my point of view, they weren't told. And they moved on to the next to the away section. Now, it's fine against Rovers or against Drogheda or against somewhere like that, but when Shamrock come to town, what do? Do you block it off?
And by they win, you mean the Commandos 84 and the...
I don't know which section it was moved down there. One stayed, one went.
I think it was Commandos and the 1st City Brigade stayed.
So a big group went down and they had smoke bombs and a whole lot, but there was definitely a couple of hundred anyway, I'd say. Maybe 100. I'd say 100. Like, what happens when Shamrock come to town? The communication could have been better, I think.
Decky.
When Shamrock come to town, the game's going to be called off 15 minutes before kickoff anyway, so it won't necessarily be an issue. But yeah, look, it's one of those things. Decky's right. The section is closed. Wayne is right. It probably wasn't communicated properly to the people it needed to be communicated to before the game. I'm not sure what you can do. Scotty raises a good point of, if you have our singing section down in the section that they occupied on Friday night, and you have the away section in, say, St. Pat's, it's Drogheda, or away to Hels, then Drogheda at home, and then St. Pat's at home. I think that's a running order. So Drog's game, it probably won't matter, but that game's on TV then as well. So does that keep the attendance down that night as well? Who knows? But then it's St. Pat's at home next, and that's a potential. That's one then that's going to have to be managed because they're in Chicor, you don't have to say a whole lot more. So do you need our singing section? Do you need our singing section down, or do you allow our singing section down there where they can literally almost spitting each other,
Yeah, I remember when the shed was originally knocked, the original terrace, and I think the Commandos 84 relocated to that same section of the Derrynane, and then I think the away fans were over by where the family enclosure is now.
Yeah, they moved exactly. Yeah, so they put the away fans up there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now what happens here. There's still also the full section of the Curra Road end towards kind of the corner flag, that side. So could just maybe shift down a section or two there.
I might be paranoid here, right? But why would you do that? Which is the correct decision to do, to covering it, without telling the fan base.
Yeah, there should have been.
My opinion is teach them a lesson. That's my opinion on it. I could be wrong. It's just my view on it. And now, the lads who moves, they hold all the cards. Because they picked the one place in the whole fucking stadium, the club should not have them where they are. So, it just backfired tremendously for them. And, I'm sure they'll come up now and they'll do all the negotiations. It's too late now. They should have done it on Thursday. They obviously knew this was going to happen. I didn't cop it, but it makes sense to do this. But you got to communicate. Stop treating fans like customers. Treat them like fans. You got to work with them, and if you don't, it causes problems. So, c'est la vie.
Here, what about Rory Keaton and Decky holding that Rangers flag the other day? The absolute bop. Well, it was like the Aldi version of Keats and Decky.
Can we tweet that?
Can
we tweet that?
Of course. It's
we have to know.
It's no skin off my nose. Yeah, it was funny because it was the lads like Rory Keaton at the end, and I was looking, how have they not spotted me standing next to him? Because that was the first thing I saw. But yeah, we better tweet it before we put out the podcast so people
Yeah.
will know what we're referencing, you know.
Stolen balls. Mick Ring makes a plea on Twitter earlier. Decky, what should you do if someone is touching your balls without warrant?
It's hard to know because I'll be honest with you, Dan, nobody's ever touched my balls without warrant. But look, I think Mick was trying to make a point, obviously, about people taking footballs and whatnot. And I think me included have taken it other ways and kind of gone, how do we just not have enough footballs at the club to cover this scenario, you know? Because one of the points about Mick's tweet was that taking balls or people not returning balls on a Friday night means there isn't enough balls for training. And the second I read that, I was like, how? Like, how are we in a situation where if balls don't get returned on a Friday night, there isn't enough footballs for training? Call me old-fashioned. Call me, I don't know, call me whatever you want to call me. But I have this thing where I just believe football clubs should have footballs. You know, I mean, as I said, it could be old-fashioned and whatnot, but it's just the way I see the world. And, you know, with wealthy owners and whatnot, I can't understand how we're not sitting on a stock of somewhere between 30 and 50 balls. So if 5 or 6 or 7 go missing on a Friday night, it doesn't impact the ability to train on Monday and Tuesday because you're sitting on a, you know, basically a shed load of them. Now, I know they're £100 a piece or whatever. So if you buy 30 of them, that's $3,000. But at least you're ensuring the lads can train on a Monday or Tuesday. And if 7 go out of the ground or 7 go missing on a Monday, and by the Friday you've got 4 or 5 of them back, then you have to replace 2. The way it seems to be working at the moment is they can't get the balls back on a Friday night. So then they have to order them on a Saturday or a Sunday, but they're not in. There's not enough there for training on Monday or Tuesday. It just, I know it wasn't Mick's intention and I know what he was trying to do. No, there's an article in the Independent and they're talking about $7,000 to replace balls. It just comes across as another woe is me, oh, we're getting caught for all this money. Like, nobody's going to look at Cork City and think, oh, God love them, they have to buy footballs. Everybody's looking at Cork City and going, what the fuck are they on about again? You know, they have a multi-million euro owner and they're whinging about the price of footballs. And that wasn't Mick's intention, and I know it wasn't Mick's intention, but that's how it's going to get taken up, unfortunately. And it's just, I don't know. Did Mick do it on his own? Was he instructed to put out the tweet? You know, I don't know what way it worked.
The club have retweeted it at least anyway.
So it's just like, dads, come on, like, you know, please, like.
They'll be using the precision ones to give to the sponsors.
Am I naive thinking that we should have separate training balls to match balls? Or am I
thought the same thing. I actually thought the same thing.
Because you want to have match ball in pristine condition that's used just for matches, and then in training you batter the shit out of them. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just naive to that.
Yeah, I was never involved in purchasing those Umbro match balls directly. I do know the Adidas match quality balls that like they play in the they'd use in the Champions League, for example, in the Europa League and Conference. Like, we could have got those from Sport Bachmann when they were supplying the club with Adidas equipment for about 50 to 60 quid each. And obviously the more you buy, the cheaper they are. So I'd imagine the Umbro ones are around the same for the club to purchase, and it's all through the league agreement. I think that we get like X number free and part of some kind of contra, I'm sure, or whatever, like in exchange for putting the ads in the program for SSE Electricity, etc. But yeah, like look, it's an unwanted expense, I would say, for the club. Like, they've probably budgeted for X amount of footballs, and I know now that, you know, for League of Ireland matches we're using this multi-ball system. So, like, you know, the old days of the fourth official flinging the ball, American football style, over, you know, to the Derry Nan when the ball gets lost. Them days are gone now. So, like, you know, balls are just lingering around, and it's probably the other Decky you should be saying this. Kids are then grabbing the balls and like throwing them under their jackets, apparently, allegedly, according to my sources at the club.
Who hasn't liberated a football?
Well, go on, Wayne. You have Dan Murray's ball in your gaff.
It's the exact one he scored a header with in Limassol, in Decky against Limassol, and literally, I think it was the shot later. It came up to me and went straight into my hands, and I had a backpack, straight into the backpack. But they were checking stuff leaving, and there was literally about 6. Remember the Mighty Ducks? It was a flying V. It was like that coming out of the turnstiles coming out. And
Like some Roman the Turtle, you okay with the shields.
I've no idea how we survived that night though, like, because we're all hammered in Ianapa, and the ball came with us. Like, it came home.
I grew up in Knockdown, so I'm well used to seeing balls disappear like that. And you're out and playing an old game in the grassy patch or whatever out in the street. So
That's
it's
it.
I feel for Mick, but again, I agree with Deck a little bit. It's a bit small time-ish, like to some extent, and that's not Mick's fault. Like I see what he was trying to do, like trying to stop this kind of thing if it's going on. But like again, professional club. We should have enough footballs. I'm old school, like yourself, Deck.
And can I just say, Dan, we all agree with Mick. Every ball should be returned on a Friday night. Every ball should be handed back.
Hear that,
Every
Wayne?
ball should
Oh,
be...
wait, Wayne's disagreeing.
But
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like, if you're 20, 21 and it's nice football, they're not doing it. They're doing it because ooh, look at this.
Yeah.
If you got a free pint, would you give it back? I don't know.
And they are class. Like when you compare one of them to the 15, 20 euro balls that you pick up in Commons, they're replicas. Like they are class. Like so, I can see why they're attractive to a young fella who.
Like I get it. If you're leaning over, pick one up. That's fine. But if a shot comes in and you catch it, and you just I'll just leave it here for a minute, and then the game ends, and you're kind of there's a football still here. I kind of get it.
Sorry, how are you sneaking it out though?
In a jacket. It's the winter time still. Like so, you've there's plenty of ways that you could just
in your gilet.
Maybe question for the pod next week. Like, how would you sneak football out of a ground? And what are your most creative ways? Best one maybe wins a TOTAP mug.
Well, other TOTAP mugs knocking around.
We're looking into it.
Can I just say, Dan, just to re-emphasize, and like the point I was making was that there is no way the amount of footballs available for training on Monday should depend on how many footballs get kicked out of Turner's Cross on a Friday night. Like it shouldn't. One should not impinge on the other in any way, shape, or form. In my opinion,
I agree with you. Lastly, here for Comedy Watch, a new marketing position at the club ? But we saw a post. I think it was put in the group from a LinkedIn of a club in Cork looking for a marketing person. The salary was really good as well. We don't know as a city because it didn't say it was city, but we're assuming. When? What did you think? It
said you report to the COO. It was on Indeed.ie, was it? I think
no, it wasn't Indeed. It was on the recruitment's website that sponsored our game.
Oh, okay.
Or the home game. There were actually a crowd I hadn't heard of before.
Green something, was it?
Yeah, Green something or other. And that's kind of what made us think it's a city as well, and the fact that it's either Cove or City, and it's
categorically not Cove.
Cove, yeah, exactly.
Like they have the number one marketing commercial guy in the country. Like they don't need to replace him or add to him. Like he's. Yeah.
Well, Wayne, what do you think of it anyway? I mean, it's great.
I think it's great because there's a good, decent salary for someone, I suppose, not entering, but it's not something you'd go, I'm not taking that job. It's it's a decent salary, and I think I did notice in the programs a lot of the sponsors and stuff are linked to Cork City. Is that how I put it? Without
empty, I thought you were going to say.
No, well, the player sponsorship is empty, but that obviously now we can probably say that they don't really care about that anymore. My opinion, but Zeus, I still can't pronounce our sponsor. Zeus. Okay, Dr. Zeus. I keep thinking Dr. Zeus. And then the other sponsor was wasn't Sonus? Who was the other sponsor? It was Sonus, wasn't it? And there was a third one too, which was also linked to Zeus. Anyway, it looks like we need more sponsors.
What have you made of the billboards around the not billboards?
I love it. I absolutely adore them. I drive past them daily just to have a look at them. I really do. I brought the kids along there to have a look at it the last day.
I meant to advertise it in the ground. What are they called again? I can't even remember now.
Perimeter advertising.
Ah, Jesus. There's something surely catchier than that. I was not going inside, but look, the ones outside, we might as well talk about them anyway. Like, they are fantastic.
As I said, they're a huge eyesore, but I love them because you see, as Turner's Cross should be littered in Cork City's advertising, and it is, and it's fantastic. I love it.
Decky, are you going to come in there?
No, is it the perimeter advertising you were referring to, Dan? Like the ones going around the pitch?
Yeah, I feel like there's a bit more of them this year.
Yeah, I think I heard just through the grapevine. I still have my leaks. No worries there, lads. But I think the the MFA are selling a few more perimeter ads now inside the ground as well. I saw one. I think is it Grandin's? Is it, are now sponsoring the ones or
So is that the
Football Association?
MFA or is it Cork City getting the advertised in the ground?
I'd say it's the MFA. I'd say like maybe Cork's. My hunch on it is allegedly my opinion. What's the right terminology I should use here, lads, to protect myself in the pod? Anyway, you can text me afterwards. Allegedly is like maybe the club are given first option up to a certain point, and then the MFA can sell any additional ones, because there's hundreds of games played there, all year. So it's, it's the MFA.
That's your personal opinion on it, is it?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Okay, that is interesting, Decky.
Can I just go back to the previous subject? Because as we're recording the pod here, I've just got a message from somebody very senior at another League of Ireland club, a DM, with a link to the Independent article about the footballs. And it just says, "This is something else. Absolutely mortifying for ye." And loads of laughing emojis, So this is how the League of Ireland are reacting to it.
Reply and go GFY. Welcome. Different club.
To be fair, if Shamrock were at that, like we'd be saying that's a bit tin pot.
Yeah, and I saw Mick turned off the comments on his tweet, but there, you can look at the quote tweets or whatever, and there was a few fans giving it the usual, like, your club's going to die again. And when I was reading it, I was like saying, what? Why are they bringing this up now? These bots on Twitter, but it's the Cork City are stuck for money, like thing was.
All news is good news, whether it's good or bad. It doesn't matter because we're in the limelight, so it doesn't actually matter. Their heads are we're obviously in their heads. They keep replying to us and stuff. So I say
we are the big club.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's time to get into some actual football this time. We'll go to Monday's game first. Waterford 2, City 1. Wayne and good Decky, we were in the midst of our live watch-along, giving it the big one. I think some of that podcast has been since cut.
Giving it the big I am. I just wish we could get
how many points we had on the board. I think some of it was taken out. But, yeah...
Yeah, I just wish we could have the Men in Black zappers there or whatever. We should have used that as the cover for that pod, actually. Like just pressing the button. Like, just forget it. I take it all back. No, but yeah, but unfortunate. Look, things were flying.
Top of the league, no?
Joint top, I think, is where we were heading. But anyway.
We were sure we were headed for Europe after the Shamrock game last year, or 2 years ago. Decky, you were in the ground. We spoke to you at half time. What did you make of the second half?
Well, sure, it's gas because the lads are laughing about what they must have said and I haven't heard and was cut out and whatnot. But that's football. Like 45 minutes changes everything. And like at half time, I was genuinely thinking about, maybe we'd only be 3 games in, but could we be in European contention? We'll win this. We'll beat Sligo on Friday night. Exactly, I presume what the lads were talking. And then the full-time whistle blows and you're walking back to the car and you've gone from that to going, Jesus Christ, if we don't beat Sligo, we could be in relegation trouble again, And it was only 45 minutes of football, but that's what it does to you, And
I think we were calculating the goal difference would be top of the league.
It's like it's funny, and like Waterford were dire first half, but we left them back into it, and look, there's lots happened Monday night that happened Friday night again in terms of full backs being left without defensive cover in front of them and everything else. And we paid the price on Monday night for them Waterford, and we paid the price on Friday night, but I'll get into that later on. But look, it was disappointing, really, really disappointing. But I think it highlighted things, from the time Shawnee went off, we just weren't, the out ball wasn't there a lot of the time. And then obviously Greg goes off at half time, and we said this in the Cove Ramblers game, the last pre-season game. Greg went off and that with 20 minutes to go, and we fell apart in midfield. Exact same thing happened in Waterford on Monday night. Greg went off and we just fell apart. We had nobody to put their foot in the ball, dictate the pace of the game, try and play a pass, get us up the field, get us up the pitch. And, look, Waterford, I said they didn't have 2 goals in them. I didn't think we were going to go down to 10 men when I said that. And even I never felt they were getting a second goal until the second they scored it, And, Tim had his go at the referee. Referee was definitely poor. Wasn't as poor as Owen O'Shea on Friday night, but we'll have that discussion again in a minute, I presume. But all you can do is take the lessons and hope that the lessons were learned and reset. But, you know, as I said, there were some things there that were still evident on Friday night. So there will be a little part of me fear that the lessons weren't learned, you know.
There's so many talking points out of this one. Greg, Shawnee, Anderson, they're just giving away the goals. Declan Carey, where do you want to begin here?
Yeah, I just following on from what Deck was saying, like I think, look, 1 point out of a possible 6 was unfortunate, especially when we were 1-0 up at half time against Waterford. Things were looking rosy, and then the house of cards came down when, as Deck said, I said it a couple of weeks ago, Bolger was going to be our most important player of the season, and then I made this grave prediction that he was going to play 90% plus of the games, and that could still happen. I just hope his injury isn't anything too serious and that he's back, and same with Shawnee, and we get the starting 11 back in a solid place. I think that probably hurt us as well on Friday at the Cross. I think, look, some of these lads starting the game with each other for the first time, and I think obviously, we'll talk about the referee when we get to the Sligo game. But look, yeah, hopefully we just take it as a little blip now and we can get back on track and get the lads back. But it's crucially important that we keep our top players fit. We said this on the first pod of the season as well. The squad depth would be tested, and just hope that this is the only test we get for the season and that we can get the lads back and fit and ready.
Wayne, what did you make of? We'll start with Anderson sending off. Maybe do you think he was rightfully sent off?
I'm not going to talk individually. I'm going to be brutally honest here. I think we shat the bed, to be honest, when we got the player sent off. If you look at Sligo and how they had a masterclass in time wasting and just getting the result, getting the draw, we were just hoofing it out of the box. We had no plan. We just panicked. Can't blame anyone. I think Anderson was harshly done by, yes, but that goal was coming no matter what. And I think we shat the bed. I think we bottled it. But we learned from it. But we also need to learn about how Sligo dealt with Friday night, because it was an absolute masterclass in time wasting. It was brilliant. And we had no signs of doing that on Monday night, sorry.
Decky, something I want to go to here. Tim Clancy after the game. Is this the first time that I think anyway that I can remember that we've seen Tim react the way he did, that we've seen the kind of Corkness, I guess, if you will, come out of Tim Clancy? I know we can talk about it a bit. We didn't actually mention it the week before. There wasn't much of a response from after the whole Shamrock debacle from Tim, but he was willing to put his neck on the line on Monday.
He was, yeah. The only problem was
He was
I have a lot of time for Tim Clancy, but yeah, I just thought, like, we do this pod. I always said, if you're going to give shit, you have to kind of be willing to take it, and that's always my attitude in football, in life, like, and I don't see, like, people say, oh, the referee has to be respectful and they have a job to do, etc., etc. The referee has cards. Tim Clancy doesn't have cards. That is one point I do understand. But I think, if you walk up to somebody and say, come here, mate, you were shit tonight, they're not going to turn around and say, all right, okay, I appreciate the sentiment. Thanks very much for your words, like, And I don't have a huge problem with Damien McGrath saying, well, your team was shit as well, because fundamentally he's correct, especially with the second half, Now, whether the referee should say that or not is another argument, and he probably shouldn't. And he also shouldn't send Tim Clancy off. Do you know what I mean? It's an exchange. And if you're both going to call each other shit, then the referee shouldn't be in a position where he can send Tim Clancy off,
Yeah.
It should just kind of be like, muskets at dawn, you're shit, no, you're shit, no, you're shit. Okay, we'd all agree we're all shit tonight, and move on, The fact that he sends Clancy off, yeah, it's unwarranted in my opinion. And I don't know what to say beyond that, to be honest with you. I think himself and Tim exchange words. Him sending Clancy off is silly, and probably Tim whinging to Virgin afterwards is also slightly silly as well, because it's not a PR argument you're probably ever going to win, to be honest with you,
Wayne, what did you make of it? Sorry, Decky.
I think that once a game is finished, the game is finished. I don't think cards should be allowed unless it's violent conduct. I also think that it was quite intelligent to go on Virgin Media and do this because he got his view in before the referee could do it, and his little tiny little notebook he's going to write what happened. So, yeah, I think if you're going to have words with someone, he's quite entitled to give it back, but he shouldn't be sending you off. Then that's just being a bit childish. Was Tim right to go on Virgin Media? I don't know. I think it was calculated because he knew then that my story's out now. Come at me, ref. You know.
Declan Carey.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, I've no real reason to doubt him, but like, you know, he obviously said what he said in the Virgin Media interview, but you know, that's his side of the story, I suppose. And as Wayne said, he gets in there first. But like, the correct action here was, look, neither of them were correct. They were both in the wrong. Like, he shouldn't have went after the ref after the game. Look, maybe he was a bit aggressive in his language, perhaps. The ref then shouldn't have retaliated. The ref should have just noted it down in his report and taken the necessary actions if, like, Tim used inappropriate language subject to the laws of the game. Unfortunately, when they do still operate after the final whistle. So, you know, it's just, yeah, I was glad to see the passion out of Tim, though, at the end. I think maybe he probably had some regrets after the Shamrock Rovers debacle that maybe he didn't go in a bit harder. And then the first chance he got, he kind of went a bit too far, and it was the wrong opportunity, I think. But look, it is what it is now. I think, look, I don't think he should have handled it the way he did. And you know, I think it came across slightly embarrassing for him, like, and a bit cringy when, you know, he said, "Oh, I said the ref, you were shocking," and then he said the same to me, like, "Boo-hoo," you know, as Deck said, like, you can't give it if you can't take it, don't give it. Like,
Since we had 2 games this week, look, we might be eager to move on quicker than normal. So, anyone want to have a final word on that one before we have a look at Sligo? Grant. Saves me a job. We can go into player ratings here anyway. We calculated them up, and your average ratings here were Troost with 7.75, Couto with 6.64, Crowley with 4.92, Anderson with 5.25, Lyons with 6.11, Bulger 6.84, obviously off at half time, Nelson 5.84, Nolan 6.66, Dyke Steele 5.34, Maguire 5.77, Keating 5.69, Skeeters 5.7, Murray 5.33, Beng 5.97, Shipston 5.44, Fitzpatrick 5.18, Tim Clancy 6.15, the referee 1.67. I will actually say that's higher. That's higher than the Sligo referee rating.
Jesus, lots of 5s in there. Tough crowd. Jesus Christ.
The referee was right, though. Maybe, like, obviously the fan base agree.
Yeah, the fan base agreed. Yeah, very much so. Can I just say, actually, one or two? Tim True's save from the header that the second goal comes from, the winning goals from, is an incredible save.
Magnificent.
Unbelievable save.
Yeah, he seems solid so far. And to be, I actually fear for the rating that the referee will get now for the Sligo game. I didn't realise we were doing ratings for the refs, but if you got 1.67, Jesus.
No, the ref of the Sligo game got 1.9.
Come off it.
Swear to God.
We need to do negative ratings.
I think so. I don't know what was going on there, but we asked people to work away. I really shouldn't have done that with your thoughts after the game, so I'll pick the first 5-6 that come up here. All right. Stephen Burke, positive start to the match with great goal, but Nolan's missed chance proved costly. Scandalous decision to send Anderson off. Strength of squad being tested very early with injuries. Owner Byrne, Sligo Friday is massive now, not helped by Bulger, Maguire, McLaughlin and O'Sullivan being out. LOY Design says offside. Find me on SK says the squad is Blue Sky, the squad is too thin. Jack Kennefic, I thought we were shocking. Who else is saying what? Irish Football Blog, squad could start to look threadbare rather very quickly. Ian Crowley, as soon as Greg left, we fell apart. No leadership on the pitch. Dyke Steele could be there for another 90, and he still wouldn't find the first touch. We weren't helped by officials, but team as a whole was not good enough. Is this what you get with a team of loanees, though? On to Rovers. Do you agree or disagree with there, lads? move on, I'd say.
Yeah, I just think the comment, I heard one there about Nolan's missed chance. I think that's unfortunately a common trait from teams near the bottom of the table, where fans leave the ground remembering this one big moment where you missed a great chance. Like the reality is, if you're performing well and you're creating multiple chances, you don't remember these big moments. So like, I think that, not to zone in on Nolan there, like, but it's unfortunate for him that that big chance came to him and he didn't put it away. But like, yeah, it's not a good sign to be singling out those individual moments that cost you points, because that's a common thread.
The Rovers review. City 1, Rovers 1. I don't know who wants to start first on the referee here, but it has to be one of the worst refereeing performances. Wayne, actually, I'm going to go to you here first.
I don't want
Now
to
we've seen
start on the
across the
referee. I want to start on Milan Mbeng, who's absolutely magnificent. He's a star in the making. Him now and Kuto, they were magnificent.
They're saying the next Malik
superlative. No, Mbeng is different class. He was sensational going forward on Friday night. Now, defence, yeah, I get that, but he needs to be put fullback or central defensive midfielder alongside Bulger. He's that good, lads. I'm telling you, he's that good. He was unbelievable. Kuto is just a diamond. Like, he's just brilliant. We have the core of a fantastic Troost, unreal. We have the core of a brilliant team. If we can weed out the kind of strugglers and get better players in, Europe, man, I'm telling you.
Well, Mbeng was very good, to be fair to him.
No, he was magnificent, Dan. You don't understand. He was magnificent.
Magnificent Mbeng. Central. You're supposed to say and put him in central midfield defensively.
I'd put him in defensive midfielder if we needed him, or I'd put him right back.
Does anyone know if he's played those positions in his previous clubs? I don't know a lot about his past history, but did he play as central mid? Like,
it doesn't matter, Deck. It doesn't matter.
He played everywhere on Friday.
City fans have seen him play against 10 men for 27 minutes and bomb on, and he's the next Franz Beckenbauer. It's
magnificent. Someone said it. I think that someone said it.
Yeah,
no, I'll tell you now.
The place has been cuckoo. The place is cuckoo all weekend, from what I can see, I'll be honest with you.
These two lads are, if we can keep hold of them, I'm telling you now, weed out the strugglers, the stragglers, the strugglers, the core here of a
two defenders. No, you're singling out here like you're going to send us to Europe. Like,
I'm just saying, because we've got Keating, Maguire, you've got Bulger, you're going to have Mbeng, you've got Kuto, you've got Troost. That is a serious spine of a team.
I agree with you. Yeah,
Chipston, Murray. I'm not going to talk about Murray because I wasn't impressed at all. I'm not impressed with him. I'm really not. But the rest, those 5 core players, sort out the rest of it. I'm going to Europe, lads. Tell you, I'm seeing Cyprus next year.
Dan, can I be the bollocks again?
Go on.
Could I just bring it all down a level again? And I apologise to everybody. I get the usual doom. He's so negative. Like, Milan and Beck started one game for us. And there's lads literally talking about him the same way they talk about Franz Beckenbauer, right? One game. I saw people on the forum saying that Benny Kuto, who is a very, very good player, is the best fullback we've had since Danny Murphy, and comparing him to Danny Murphy. How many trophies did Danny Murphy win at this club? Benny Kuto's played 5 games.
It's not what they're saying, Decky. It's not what they're saying, Decky. It's not what they're saying. You know this. It's not what they're saying.
It is what's been said.
They're potentially wise is what I'm saying. Potentially he's as good as Franz Beckenbauer. Of course I am. I'm not saying he is. Kuto is potentially as good as Danny Murphy. Of course he is. He's prime Philip Long. Do you know?
He has to go to Ramblers to match Philip Long.
The potential is there, but I tend to make my judgments over a longer period. And look, Milan and Mbeng was very, very good on Friday night. There's nobody saying
magnificent.
He was magnificent, especially in the last 20 minutes when he was the one doing the marauding. He was the one heading up the wing and whatnot. He had that shot that was brilliantly saved, but was going wide anyway. And
I've seen worse goals. I'll say that much, Deck. I've seen worse goals.
So, you know, I just let's not call him friends just yet. That's my just
You know what the cover of this
let's-
podcast is going to be now, don't you?
yeah. Let's just put the reins on ever so slightly.
Beckenbauer fucking playing golf at the cross. Like,
With dreadlocks. Can I just comment on, because Scotty said he didn't want to comment on the referee, Dan, and I don't particularly want to comment on the referee either. I want to commentate on the officiating team, because the referee is getting absolutely lambasted, hammered, and no issues with that. But the whole officiating game right around Europe now is all focused on the team, not the referee. So people want to describe the referee as being brutal on Friday night. People want to describe the referee as being shocking, as being shit. I want to focus on the team, the officiating team, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that the officiating team was brutal on Friday night. That the officiating team was shocking on Friday night. That the officiating team was shit on Friday night. Not just the referee, the whole goddamn lot of them, The linesman on the far side disallowed the Charlie Lyons goal. Why? I'm going to say they were guessing, right? The linesman on the Donny Ford side failed to give 2 handball penalties that he could not help but see. That's his job. That's what he's there for. That's what he's looking for. And I kind of feel sorry a little bit for Owen O'Shea, especially with the John Mahon dive, because there's lots of bodies between Owen O'Shea and John Mahon. Linesman's looking straight across at it. That's what he's there for. You wave your flag, you put it across your chest, you tell the referee in his earpiece, that's a handball and it's a penalty. And there's no excuse for him not doing that. Absolutely none. So when people want to lambast Owen O'Shea and lambast the referee, all I'm appealing to people is to remember he wasn't the only one who was shocking. The whole officiating team was absolutely cack on Friday night.
Declan Carey.
yeah, what do you think of those 2 penalty shouts, the Keatings one and Lyons? For me, they both looked outside the box, albeit they were fouls.
Keatings was inside the box. I was by the 6-yard box, but I think you kind of...
No, there was one on the... Was he on the edge of the box where he...
Keating was inside and Shipston was outside.
Keating won, but look at Rory Keating. I'm a great believer in looking at players. Rory Keating never looks for the penalty there. He never once appeals for it.
They're both fouls, but I just wonder were they in the box.
No, I just go by Rory's reaction, and I presume, and I watched it back in the stream. It's like, your man must have got the ball, because Rory never looks for the penalty. The Shipston one, I think, is outside the box but again, the referee's having a guess, because it's impossible for him to know whether it's inside or outside the box at the time. They've guessed that the Charlie Lyons disallowed goal. It's never a disallowed goal. I mean, good God above tonight, it's never not a goal. And the 2 handballs, whatever about the first one, and it is a handball. The second one, the John Mahon one, it's inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable that they're not given.
The free out for the goal for the goalkeeper hitting his own man.
It's just
that was diabolical.
But look, we take some positives. I mean, I think a big positive, Magnificent Mbeng, our loanees this year seems to be unbelievable compared to 2 years ago. And that's going to go a long way in keeping us up or pushing on, hopefully, into higher positions this year. Win.
Now we can call him Le Kaiser from now on, because the French and the Beckenbauer put together. So, but I hope I think we should try it right back. Just try it and see what happens.
Is he central defensive midfielder now or right back?
You can play him anywhere, Declan.
Pretty striker.
He can go and goal. I'm sure if Truce gets injured, I'd be putting him bang in there.
Well, Sean, he's out there. We'll throw him up.
We're actually going to only take to the pitch with 10 men, because Milan is going to cover 2 positions. So. It's just I think the way he bombed on Friday night, there's definitely merit in having a look at him right back. The only thing about it then is, Wayne, that all your centre back options are on the pitch at the same time. He's playing right back, and if anything happens, you don't have an option off the bench, unless, I don't know, is there one of the younger lads? Is Henderson still around? What was the chap, the young lad who came on above from Bowes in the end of 2020? Is Sam Bailey still around? Henderson still around? Are any of them anywhere near that first team squad?
I thought Bailey was on the team sheet, wasn't he?
He was
wrong. Yeah.
The only thing I would say about the game on Friday is we shot ourselves in the foot so many times with stupid, needless tackles and fouls, especially in the last 10 minutes of the game. I don't know what we were doing. Like they were dropping like flies with any touch of them. Just leave them go. Like, it was stupid. I'm not going to name players, but there was one or two more constantly doing it. And on the left-hand side, Couto was begging for the ball from one of the centre-backs, and he was never getting it. And it was just... I don't know, have we got a panic button on us and we just don't know what to do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That tackle on Dykesteel was more something you'd see out of the Shamrock Rovers, wouldn't it? That was absolutely shocking.
Yeah. It was a bad tackle and it's a red card. I think it looks worse because he ends, the wall is so close and he ends up clattering the wall, and but it's a shocker of a tackle and it's a deserved red card. I think the last half an hour, look, the officiating team stuff, we all know, what went on there. We should have had 2 penalties a minimum. We should probably have been 3-1 up at the time. But when we don't and we're 1-1 with 20, we end up playing 27 minutes against 10 men. And Wayne's right. It was panic. There was no control in what we were trying to do. And if you watch it back, I think it's about 80 minutes. Alec Nolan takes the ball off one of the centre backs and he's really deep. And you can hear, and I'm 90% sure it was Tim Clancy in the gantry, and you can hear him on the stream going, "Move the ball, Alec, move the ball." And it's the one thing we didn't do. We never moved the ball quickly. And by not moving the ball quickly, we never moved them around. And they were very comfortable in their defensive setup. And like in the whole game, we had 5 shots on target. And 3 of those shots on target came after 90 minutes. You had the Joss Fitzpatrick chance, you had the Alec Nolan chance, and you had Milan and Beng shot from outside the box, So the point I'm making is like 3 of the shots on target out of 5 came after the 90-minute mark. If we had a bit of composure and we had managed to put them under sustained pressure from 80 minutes on, and we're getting shots on target in the 80th minute, they would have cracked, they would have broken. But to do that, as I said, you need to move the ball, you need to move them around, you need to pick holes, you need to be able to pick a pass. And we weren't doing any of that. It looked brilliant, Milan bombing down the line and trying to put a cross in. But who's doing the organising? Who's doing the what Greg would have done? Putting the foot in the ball, organising, playing short passes, doing things quickly, making Sligo move, trying to find the holes and pick the holes by moving their centre-backs, by moving their full-backs. We just allowed them. And a lot of times we just ended up kind of half lumping a ball into the box and hoping something was going to break or something. And we're a young side, and I think that lack of experience showed massively on Friday night. And I think when Tim got them in on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whenever, and they're going through the film, Tim won't be talking about the officiating team. They'll have part that, and he'll be talking about that last 27 minutes and what we failed to do in that time to get ourselves ahead, because it was a golden opportunity to win the game and we didn't do it. And like, we've only 5 points now, and we're away to Shells, home to Drogs, who are top of the league, then home to Pats. There's potential there that things go very wrong very quickly, unfortunately.
I feel like the only lad who hasn't got a mention has been Kit Nelson, the man who actually got our goal. Declan Carey, what did you make of his performance?
Yeah, look, it took his goal well. I think it took a little deflection on the way in, but look how bad. Fair play. He was in a good area, and he was involved in a couple of our more positive moves late on in the game. So fair play to him. He's young, so I don't know how much he'll feature, and I said signs remain good. I know Decky, you called him out as well in the home game against Galway. He came on in that, and you mentioned that he looked the player. And yeah, our early signs are positive. So yeah, good to see him getting the score sheet and off the mark.
All right, well, here are your average ratings. Truce with 6.44, Couto 7.97, Crowley with 6.01, Beng with 8.26, Lyons with 6.51, Nelson 7.23, Murray 6.21, Shipston 6.45, Dykesteel 6.24, Nolan 6.26, Keating 5.95, Fitzpatrick 5.79, Skeeters 5.47, Tim Clancy 5.86, Atmosphere 6.01, and the referee 1.9. Anything that stands out at you there?
Rory Keaton, I think.
Yeah. If he gets a goal like the week before, obviously those ratings are going up, but he probably had a similar performance level for most of that game, but he just didn't get the goal.
Yeah, like I think Rory's playing poorly at the moment. I think there's no getting away from that, and that's not criticism. We all understand what's been going on, and Cork City fans would give Rory all the time in the world, without fear. He had a very good chance first half, and he kind of snatched at it, and he put it over the crossbar. And if he took that one away, it's probably a different night. But look, as I said, City fans will have his back. Without Shawnee, there's more pressure on him. There's more, reliance on him to get a goal and create stuff. So he's going to have a massive roll away in Shelbourne on Friday night. And hopefully he can deliver Friday night, and those 5.7s become 9.7s, and everybody's happy.
Hopefully. Well, we took it to a 2-word answer this time. Duncan Noonan says, "Where's Rico?" Tony Tobin says, "Great save." James Greenham says, "Ridden Rock." Irish Football Blog 1-1. David Crowley says, "Mbeng Gem." It's magnificent, David. Roy O'Sullivan says, "Handball rules." Billy Dorney says, "Effing referee." Dylan O'Murku says, "Start Milan." Wayne says, "Meng equals magnificent." Ian Crowley says, "No leadership." Ian Crowley also says, "Sligo's Henri." The Rebel Academy says, "Milan Imballer." The Rebel Academy says, "Robbing reps." Philly Crowley says, "Handballs." Stephen says, "Should have won." Anthony Falvey says, "Milan and Beng." Jack Keller says, "Shocking officiating." Thomas says, "Daylight robbery." Finaldo says, "Blind ref." Probably Fergus. "Injury woes." Alex, "Social experiment." Ben, "Fundamentally poor." Magpie, "Robbed blind." Kieran, "Missing players." Veritas Joe, "Referee investigation." Scott, "Effing refs." Sean, "Effing refs." Connor, "Unacceptable refereeing." Garrett, "Shirts only water." Barry, "Refrocious." CCFC, "Kick collector." Absolutely road. Look, it goes on and on. The invited guest says, "Mbeng CDM." A lot of love for Mbeng win ones. I think we know the lads in the forum who are giving it the Beckenbauer comparison.
Sure, it's 2 years now, Dan. The Kaiser.
This is frightening levels of hype.
Unreal.
But you have to hold it. But this is what football is about. Like, you got to be partisan. You got to be, we have enough down horrible moments this year. Let's embrace the magnificent player we have.
I've never seen a fella have so many nicknames after one game.
He's actually right. Like, he is right when you think about it. Like, football is a lot of disappointment and down times and all that. Like, so if a cult hero comes along 5 games into the season, why not embrace him? Yeah, why not?
Cult heroes are usually shit players. He's not, so he'll be legendary status.
No, they're not shit players.
Cult heroes are usually players like George Heaven was a cult hero for a bit. No,
he wasn't. Never. Come on.
Cult heroes are usually players who were kind of... Tony Cascarino is a perfect example of a cult hero. Not blessed with the best skill, but does the right things. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Nah, I'd be putting like cult hero status. Danny Murphy, Garrod Morrissey, these lads like...
Let's Google this.
All right, well, while Wayne's doing that, we'll end the first half. Come back to us in the second half, TOTAP, where we will have the mailbag, the Shells preview, as well as checking in our friends in Queenstown.
Hey, toe tapper. As you know, everything is increasing in price. Extra small clothes, anger management classes, raw liver is the same price as gold. And kids' sweets used to have 20 per pack and now only have 5 in each one. And Jack Doherty is on course to score 100 goals. And he's going to bleed us dry. We need you to help the gang by joining our Patreon for exclusive pods, news and much more. For a £5 a month, you can ensure that Wayne doesn't smash up his laptop, that Dan has really small clothes, Eileen is satisfied and Declan gets lots and lots of jellies. Head to patreon.com/TOTAP to support the cause.
Welcome back to part 2 TOTAP. It is now time to get into the mailbag.
Postman Patta, Postman Patta in black and white cat. The cat makes race. Early in the morning, one bag of man is yawning. Him pick up all of the post bag in him van. A real bad man.
We need a new mailbag theme song. Even Wayne's not singing along anymore.
Something about him bang, he always delivers or something, you know. There's surely a play there.
Demetrius, get on it, kid.
Billy Dorney and Wayne, this one's going straight to you.
Okay.
Think Milan would make a great winger? From what I saw, the man loves to drive forward. I was really impressed. Grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck.
That's the people know. The people know, like, you know, they know. Magnificent.
They're only, and after listening to the pod this week, no, they're just going to feed the animal even more. Like, this is just
That
going.
is what you need to do. Like, and Kudo as well. Like, I mean, like, what a player. Like, I mean, like, the guy. If he just stopped taking free kicks, please. Don't take free kicks.
This is actually how you create cult heroes. You know, this is how you go about it.
But it didn't work with Dyke Steel, so we'll try again now.
Dan, can I just say as well, Milan and mailbag.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Look, we'll work on it.
Both of those are equally as bad as the other. So
Milan and bag.
We'll ask ChatGPT later for some suggestions.
Yeah.
Marcus Demetrius can get on it again.
Scott Buckley, and genuinely, this is the second question that's come up. What potential has Mbeng to start every week? Wayne?
Can we stop the Mbeng questions, please? Come on, no. Like.
Captain Fantastic, I said it first. You heard it here first.
Okay, a non-Mbeng question.
Sorry, can I answer that one? Can I genuinely answer that very quickly? The one about start. I think there's huge potential because Charlie Lyons has 4 yellow cards in 4 games, right? The man's going to be suspended in the next 2 weeks, no bother. Then you start Mbeng and you start Anderson as a partnership. And watch then. Could be difficult for Charlie Lyons to get back in then.
Oh, shut. Duncan Noonan says, ask Decky what he thought of Malik Dykesteel on Friday night. Something tells me he might have a strong opinion.
You see, this is little Duncan now, who has already spoken to me on this subject, and he's trying to throw me under a bus. No, look, I said it about Waterford. I think neither the 2 wide players, Alec Nolan or Malik Dykesteel, are providing any kind of defensive cover for the 2 full backs. Sligo's goal on Friday night comes from their right back having all the time in the world to pick out a cross. Now, it's a great cross. It's a brilliant header from young Elding. But no full back should have that amount of time. And, you know, Malik does bust the gut to get across. And then for some reason, he slows down and starts jogging. And as he's jogging, your man's putting the ball into the box and they're going 1-0 up. And I'm just looking at it, roaring at it like you have to bust your bollocks to get back there. You have to provide the defensive cover. Alec Nolan is as guilty on the other side. I'll say that as well. But our full-backs need help. Benny Kudos is excellent, and he doesn't need as much help as Dara needs on the other side. But teams are starting to figure us out, and they're going to, like, Dara's going to be targeted more and more when there's no defensive cover in front of him. And eventually teams will start targeting Benny as well, because Malik is off for a runaround, you know? And, like, people are going to be convinced, oh, he hates Malik. I don't. But we're not a team who can have wingers who don't provide defensive cover. It just can't happen. It could happen if those wingers were going to get you 15 goals a season, or, you know, 15 goals and assists combined, but they're not, you know? So we need more defensive contributions from them, because otherwise we're going to find ourselves conceding goals simply because the full backs are being left exposed by a lack of hard work in front of them. Or lack of defensive work, I should say, not hard work.
Ian Crowley, watching Friday's match felt a lot like 2023, hopeless football with no direction, fighting for our foothold from kick-off. Are we really that lost without our key players? Declan Carey. come to in this one. I probably don't agree. I don't think it did feel like 2023.
No, I don't think so. Some of the games there, especially at the first half of the season, were miserable, and I don't think we're in that bad a state. I think we still should have won the game comfortably, even though we were missing the key players. I just think again, as Wayne said there, there's a bit of naivety. We panicked a little bit when they got the man sent off. We were committing silly fouls. We had a few chances. We could have won the game still. I think we learn from it. And again, I'm putting all my faith in Tim Clancy here to learn from it and improve. I think look, we'll take last week's 2 games as a blip, as I said earlier. We'll just drive on, and look, the players will start to come back too. They're not gone for the rest of the season by any accounts at all. So look, it's not all doom and gloom. Keep the positivity going, and we'll improve and start picking up the points. I'm confident enough of that. We should have won last Friday, and we should have come away from Waterford with something as well.
Ian Crowley says the K Club ? And then 2 melting emojis. So I think referring to the K Club being the match day sponsor. But Wayne, I guess it's good for the club to go back to its roots, really.
Folks.
I have no idea what just happened.
Oh, God.
Go back to sleep, I'd say.
I'd say so.
Philly Crowley will miss Cahill, Shawnee, and Greg so early in the season. Stand to us if we can pick up more points against Shels and Drogheda before being back to a full strength squad. I don't know. Will missing Cahill, Shawnee, and Greg so early in the season stand to us if we can pick up more points against Shels and Drogheda before being back to a full strength squad? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not overly sure what the question is here. I think
he means if we pick up points in those games, the lads come back, maybe they're a little bit rested, and we go into other games with a stronger squad. That's what I take from it. I'd say no is the answer.
Yeah,
because
get through this rough patch with any points on the board, really, is what he's saying, I think. And when the lads come back, then we'll push on. But
I don't want to doom it, but I'm somewhat doomy this week, I'll be honest with you, after what I've seen over the last 2 games. I think Ian Crowley was not entirely correct there. I don't think it was like 2023, but I think we were poor on Friday night. I genuinely do think we were. We played against 10 men. We were home to a relegation considered side. We never got control of the game. We never put ourselves really in a position to go and win the game. It was just, I don't know. I think people are looking at it, and obviously people are looking at it for positives, and they're looking at Milan bending down their wing. But when you look at it and you break it down, I thought we were poor. And if Greg is going to miss substantial time, if Shawnee's going to miss substantial time, even if they don't, the limits of the squad are already being exposed 4 games in. And that to me is a massive concern already. Massive.
Rebel Army 84. What was the final amount raised for the much needed facilities in Marymount last year? Can't remember, but I think it was about 800 and something with the help of West Cork Coffee. Will there be any sort of season-long fundraising this year?
No.
The Rebel Academy. Getting vibes of 2023. We were very predictable in the game versus Sligo. Look, we probably already answered that one. Mallow train station employee of the month. International break coming up. Shouldn't the Shamrock game be fixed for then? Decky.
I'm going to defer to Declan Carey here, but I'm going to presume because that's an international week, so there'll be players from Shamrock away with under 21 squads and things like that, I'd imagine. But I also presume there's an element maybe of fellas heading away for 3 or 4 days, Declan, that the PFA mightn't allow the game to be played. We mightn't have players available to play the game.
I think it's highly unlikely, Deck, to be honest, especially as you said with Shamrock having players away, and it's generally seen as a kind of an unofficial break for the players as well when games are called off. And I always found it a bit annoying that it can be so disruptive to League of Ireland fixtures. It's not like we have dozens of players off on international duty and things like that, so it's always a bit of a pain. But look, I think it can be a good thing for the players too to get a little break like that if we do have a gap.
Henry, kind of with a sentiment we talked about already. How does a professional football club not have enough footballs for a training session? Connor K says, for John Cena's biggest fan, is there anything the club can do, like a referee complaint, or make a request to not have him again? Or will the club choose to move past Friday's abysmal officiating?
I don't think there's anything they can do, to be honest with you.
You're John Cena's biggest fan?
He has to be, because CM Punk is my man, so I knew that question wasn't for me.
I don't know. I was just like, there was nobody else seemed to be coming forward with an answer. So I do remember in England, what was your man's name? Oh, what they call the Clattenburg Derby, that Everton-Liverpool derby, where you had the Dirk Coits 2-footed challenge. There was only a yellow card. Tony Hibbert was being booked, and Stephen Gerrard spoke to the referee, and he put away the yellow card and he took out the red card. And then there was an absolute stonewall penalty not given to Julian Lescott 2 minutes into injury time, which would have allowed Everton to draw the game. And I remember that was Mark Clattenburg refereed that game. And I remember David Moyes told the FA that Clattenburg was barred from Goodison Park. And if he ever showed up there, he wouldn't be allowed through the door. And Clattenburg didn't referee an Everton game for 4 years. And it was 6 years before he refereed one at Goodison Park. So you might not officially be able to get rid of him, but I guess if we went and we told the FAI that O'Shea is barred from Turner's Cross, he could join me in the footpath outside. He could maybe referee from the footpath or something, that might be the only option that they have.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. Like, can you kind of maybe covert operational tactics, maybe, but like I can't see us as a club making an official, plea to the FAI that he doesn't ref any of our games going forward. Like, for a variety of reasons, I can't see us doing that as a club, to be honest.
Darb, any update on injuries to Shawnee and Greg?
Haven't heard anything. No.
Hopefully we'll find out more in this week's press conference. Probably Fergus says, I don't think there's a question here, but our squad is like nuclear energy. Could defend it to the 9th degree, does everything right so much of the time, is reliable, safe and clean. It's better than dirty alternatives, and we have safely disposed of a lot of waste. In brackets, the B team. Shots fired at the Ramblers there. I don't know. I fully agree with it. Look.
I think I got solar panels installed recently. I think we're more like solar panels. We're, a bit rocky now at the moment, but come the summer, we'll be producing serious output. And whenever
I thought you were going to compare it to dodgy boxes
every week.
I know, yeah. God almighty. I hope my manager doesn't have Spotify.
The corner bag, drop Crowley and start Milan at right back. Who says no? Crowley is poor going forward, offers absolutely nothing, and is very one-footed. Milan looked dangerous against Sligo, and that was driving, from centre back when he didn't have much of a licence to go forward in the first place. Wayne Mullins, are you agreeing or disagreeing?
They need to give the Crow what they want, lads. And right now, he's the John Cena of Cork City FC.
The crowd don't like John Cena. He turned heel there last weekend.
I have no idea, man.
Cody Rhodes.
He's not related to Dusty Rhodes, is he?
He is, yeah. He's his son.
2FM DJ.
I know, yeah. I came across him in my time as well as chairman, believe it or not.
Dusty Rhodes?
Yeah, the radio
Which
guy.
one?
Yeah. The radio guy. The real Dusty Rhodes passed away a couple of years ago. The American Dream. We have the American Nightmare now.
All right. A question for the lads. Looking at Greg Bulger's socks with all the holes makes me wonder who has the most spectacular sock design in League of Ireland football. Yes, I know. It's a very random question.
This socks thing with players is my biggest pet peeve in football. This whole cutting the feet off the socks. Yeah, the cutting the feet off the socks. This new thing now where they're putting holes in the back of in the calf area. For what is this thing with socks? Like, I just can't understand it. All these messing around with them and putting their own socks over them and then taping up the ankles, and then there's these new socks now that you can buy with special beads on the soles of them. And what is it? Like, I don't know. Call me old-fashioned. Just put on the socks.
Totally agree.
We're kind of running out of time a small bit here, so I'll take one or two here from Instagram. Thoughts on Usher? Darwill says, Decky, you were looking to come in.
I was just going to say, yeah, you're piling into this mailbag now, and you're saying you're running out of time. You're after completely forgetting about a Shells preview, aren't you?
No.
All right, okay.
That's why I was
Usually
like,
finish with
I was looking at we're an hour and 20 in. I was like, we still have that to do, and we still have to check in on Queenstown.
Okay.
I know why you're shaking your head there, Mr. Mbang. You're like...
Because who's going to edit this pod this week?
Mbang, probably. He can do it all.
3.5 hours.
Darwill, Kerman, go to you. Thoughts on Usher not responding to Forrest's statement? Anything that can be done?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a response. I'm sure there was possibly a response in private, Dan. That would just be my guess. I believe Forrest have a relationship with the club owners, and I can't imagine the club are too pleased to see that statement go out. So I expect there may be some kind of repercussions, but that's only a good thing, I think. And I think Forrest now has a good opportunity to put its
I do have to stop you there, Mr. Kerman. What do you mean repercussions?
Like, I suppose in terms of like the relationship between the club and Forrest, when I suppose I don't know how it's actually been the last 2 years or so, but
this is a football club, isn't it? This isn't like this is a football club where people have opinions. Am I wrong?
You're spot on. That's why I said this is a good thing. Like, it can only be a good thing. And like Forrest put out the statement, and if it causes some kind of angst or attention or anything like that, it's a positive, and it's good to see Forrest representing.
Crack on and drive on, I say. Well done, Forrest.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a get together too for the Shells game on Friday night in Collins Bar in Douglas Street. They're all welcome, not just Forest members. Any City fans and friends come along, and the Collins are showing the Shells away game. So
very good.
All right, lads, that concludes the mailbag. Decky, we're finally getting into your second team here. Shells away.
My second team.
Absolutely.
Good God above tonight. Jesus Christ. Go on anyway. Have your little joke, whatever you've lined up for me. Go on.
Go on. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting Shelburne to be under a certain degree of pressure. Defending champions. Obviously, they won an opening night, and we thought everything was grand. Then they went down to Waterford and they won. But lost at home to Drogheda. Drew a game at home to Shams that they probably should have won. Drew down in Galway as well. And if they don't beat us, I think they start to come under pressure. So I think if we can keep it tight and keep it tight as long as we can, I would expect there to start to be vocal grumblings around Talca Park, They're not going to be happy. Drogheda went in there and won last Friday night. So if we go in there and cause them problems and go ahead or keep it 0-0 and limit the amount of chances they have, I wonder for the first time, does it? It's not going to turn, but you know what I mean? Is it? There's going to, for the first time since he got there, there'll probably be some murmurings around them not being good enough, or the crowd getting a little angsty and restless, and they're the kind of things that we can play on then, and the longer and the tighter, the longer we can keep it tight, the longer we can keep it at 0-0 or even get ourselves ahead, it poses questions to Shelburne that they probably haven't been posed in the last 3 or 4 years, and it will be interesting to see how the team reacts, how the ground reacts, and how Damien Duff would react,
Do you think that there's a touch of like the time Leicester won the Premier League there a few years ago, and all the teams below them were just not at the races, or they weren't up to much, like Shamrock and Derry and the rest of it. Like, I didn't pay much attention to the Premier Division last year, but like I obviously saw the tail end of it when it got a bit exciting, but they were so close in points, but such a low number of, like, it's almost record the record for the lowest number of points to win the league. And do you think, like, what would their fans' expectations be for this year? Like, to retain the league again and run away with it? Like,
would have to be like, and like they started so well last year, and that's basically that. That in
tickling
the end
little bellies, are you, Declan?
No, Excuse me.
Shells fan. Ooh, tickle bellies.
Holly Byrne.
I love shells.
What? Okay. Decky asked me a question. I was going to try and answer it, but
Please answer it. I'm sorry for
if you
piggybacking
want,
on
no,
Wayne's
that's look,
childish.
I've no
behaviour.
problem in the slightest dealing with whatever shit is thrown my way. But like as I said, yeah, their start last year was incredible, and that's fundamentally what won, because they finished like relegation candidates. They did, but Derry were in absolute shambles. Shamrock Rovers started appallingly. I just couldn't see it out. And they went to Derry last game of the season. They won it 1-0. Harry Wood scored that goal, I think, and like you can't say they didn't deserve it, because over a season they did, because that's how league tables work. But I do wonder, Deck, deep down, you're not in asterisk territory, no, in any way, shape, or form. But I do wonder, Duff knows the history of Shelbourne Football Club. There's guys there rooted in Shelbourne for years who have Duff's ear, and I do wonder, do they look at last year and in their heart and soul, right down there in their inner sanctum, do they question whether it was really a real title win because Cork City weren't in the division? Can you really win a league when the biggest club in the country aren't in there? When you don't have to play them 4 times a year, have you really won a league? And these are the questions of Shelbourne, and Duff is probably feeling the same. He probably feels that to really win a league, they have to win it this year with Cork City in the league. Otherwise, they said it's not asterisk territory, but it's a little bit tainted, isn't it? It's slightly tainted, because how can you win a league when the biggest club in the city, in the biggest club in the country, aren't in there competing with you?
I think when the cover for the pod replaced the golf clubs with a set of fishing rods. But anyway, great answer to my question, Deck. I agree with you. I think they were definitely.
Are you going,
from
Decky?
what I hear, what you're
Decky?
saying, they were punching last year, and yeah, that's my takeaway from it.
What's that, Wayne?
Are you going?
Or as a special guest of Shelbourne Football Club? Yeah.
That's how I'm
That's
here.
absolutely fantastic.
We all know you're
news.
telling the truth here, so don't be pretending to know it.
Have you media accreditation, Deck?
If I requested it, I would be given it, yeah, no problem, but I won't.
Wayne, who are you starting? You going Keaton, Bang up top?
I'd actually go 4-4-2, and I'd drop Murray and I'd put in Skeeters.
Dick and Kerry, who are you starting this game?
Yeah, I think it's most definitely a 4-5-1 anyway, away to Shells, and the likes of Skeeters to come on. Look, I think we'll potentially see Nolan starting, Nelson, hopefully Bolger's back. Some combination of of 3 of those 4 with Shipston as well, and then I don't see the back 4 changing, or Troost obviously. So yeah, I think we'll be 4-5-1.
How many games is Anderson out for?
He's just the one, isn't it? He's back.
One game, yeah.
So he comes back and you stick him Bang right back. Bish bash bosh.
Decky, do you think our threadbareness, if that's definitely not a word, but anyway, will be caught out here now, and that's really going to show? If without Bolger, without Shawnee, because this is the first game now we're really coming into where I believe it's probably going to be a bit unravelled.
Yeah, yeah, I think obviously we don't know how Malik is after the tackle the other night. He left the pitch injured. If he doesn't start, you're starting Joss Fitzpatrick, and then you're down another option off the bench, and it's all of a sudden it's not as much about the starting 11, but you're looking at your bench options and you're going, there's nothing there, or there's very, very little there. As I said already, I think this is a game you go in, you keep it tight, you try and keep it tight. You leave the tension build at Talca Park. You leave the crowd start to get ruffled, and leave them start to get on Shell's back, and hopefully that works in our favour. And then you go and nick something on the counter from a set piece, whatever it might be. If they score after 10 minutes, I think it would be very difficult for us to come from behind, just with the kind of team we will have. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. We've no idea on the injury front, to be honest. I just hope that, as Deck has already said, that there's some combination of Shawnee won't be back. Gotta hope Greg is there. I'd have me doubts if he is, to be honest with you, if he has a calf injury. If Malik doesn't make it, you're starting Josh. And as I said, your options off the bench are really, really limited then as well,
It'll be interesting to see what Tim gives in terms of updates in this week's press conference. Hopefully we get some solid updates and realistic ones. I don't want, which will, it'll play out in time, of course, anyway. But I think we were told Cahill would be 2 or 3 weeks. Was that about a week and a half ago? So you might start to see him feature in squads hopefully soon, if that's to be true. So let's wait and see.
Hopefully. Lastly, we're going to go to predictions. I said 2-0 Shells. Win.
2-2.
Decky.
2-0 Cork City. No, hell breaks loose in Talca Park.
Declan Carey.
1-0 Shells.
All right. Wayne, I know, but look.
Hang on, no, sorry. Can I just point out here now? I'm the one who gets accused of being a Shelburne supporter, and I'm the only one who's gone for a Cork City victory.
That's because
you got 2 going for Shelburne.
You're saving face there, Declan. Don't pretend no.
And
you won't be having a little grin in your face when Shells got 3 up.
Go away.
Pretend no.
I tell
your
you
little buddies up there in Talca Park, you love them.
Tell you no.
Little tickling their little bellies in there, yeah.
All right. Well, lastly, it's time to check in on our friends down in Queenstown, and they had a good week for the week that was in it.
In 2025, a little team in Queenstown needed some players to try and keep up with their bigger local rivals. The manager promptly looked for Cork City's leftovers to impress the fans. Today, Cove Ramblers still aren't impressive and have spent a fortune. And if you have a player and no one will take him and he is off First Division standard, maybe he can join the B team.
All right, well, it was a great week to be a Queenstown fan as they beat Longford Town 5-0. Barry Coffey bagging 2 goals there.
If we had Barry Coffey, someone mentioned this in the Twitter machine there, the X machine if we had Barry Coffey, he would have scored on Friday night.
Come on, no.
He would have scored one of those goals. He would have scored one of them, I'm telling you. He would have done nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. We could have lost the game, actually, but he would have scored one of those goals.
Yeah, I think I think there's a very narrow view, and it's tinted glasses with, our First Division,
You're too long as chairman of Cork City Football Club, I'm telling you. You need to get this partisan love and undeniable, just
blind love back.
Blind love, yeah.
No, I think Barry's actually a great player, and he's scored some great goals for the club and valuable goals, and I think he's he had a good couple of seasons here. But no, I think look, some of those lads that are down in Cove now are I think it's the right place for them at this moment in their careers. And look, if they perform well and up their game and work their way back into the club, I'll be absolutely delighted from. But I think it was time for us to move on with a lot of those guys, I think.
Decky, sure you're learning now. You would have listened to the pod for a number of years. So you've learned by now, to be fair to Wayne, he never speaks ill of any player. Really past or present. He said he said about Murray, he hasn't impressed me. That's about as far as
I did call him pricks at one stage, and I got lambasted by a person up in Shamrock. But look, besides that.
Who lambasted you up in Shamrock? For what?
Do you know what? No, we will move on.
He's always much.
No, I admire the positivity. That's what it's all about, lads. We're all different. That's what it's all about. Variety is the spice of life.
All right. Any words of parting words of wisdom for the TOTAPers before they embark on their week ahead? No wisdom. No wisdom.
I was just going to say,
can we get Mbeng's number changed to number 5, Mick Ring, if possible? It would just be good crack. Beckenbauer 5. I'm sure Charlie would give it up. That's what I hope we'll do. We'll do the right thing,
Look, I think TOTAPers should take inspiration from Wayne's optimism on this pod, and I'm fully in the optimistic front in terms of what we can do in the next month. So yeah, I think, look, keep the faith, and look, for the sake of the club as well, keep the numbers up at Turner's Cross.
Can I just ask Scotty, is Le Kaiser, is he très bien or sehr
This-
gut?
They're mixed. Le is the French and the Kaiser is the German. So when you see the cover, you get it.
But that's why I'm asking, is he très bien or sehr gut?
It's magnificent. Magnifique.
All right, I'm starting to hallucinate here or something, lads. I need to go, honestly. Right, that's it from us, lads. Adios.
Adios.
Adios.